Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, whose life am I actually living? Dr. Derek here. A few years ago, I realized something that shook me to the core. At that time, I was exhausted, I was frustrated, and I was secretly ashamed of what I saw in the mirror. I'd gained weight, I'd lost energy, and if I'm honest, I didn't feel like me anymore. Despite being a doctor, a dad, a husband, and a business owner, I felt like I was falling apart behind the scenes, physically, mentally, emotionally. And one of the hardest truths I had to face was this. I was living a life that I never consciously chose. I was working in a job I once loved, but now I felt trapped by. I had a body that reflected years putting everyone else first and not myself. I was constantly rushing, constantly tired, and constantly chasing, but with no clear direction. That's when it hit me. I wasn't actually living, I was existing. If that resonates with you, you're not alone. So many high achieving people, especially professionals like us, end up living by default. We follow expectations, chase approval, do the right things, but never stop to ask, what kind of life do I actually want to live? What kind of person do I want to become? That's what this video is all about. Before you can change anything, you have to see it. You have to define it. You have to give yourself permission to imagine the kind of life you actually want, even if you don't believe it's possible yet. So let's start there. These are the 4 questions that changed everything for me. I'm going to share these exact questions I used when I started my transformation, not just in body, but in identity. Answer these for yourself. Take your time, be honest. No one's watching. First question, what do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room? When you're at work, at home, at your funeral? What legacy do you want to leave? For me, I wanted to be known as someone who was disciplined, grounded, generous, and a role model, not just for my patients, but for my daughters. Second question, what do you want to look and feel like in your body? Not for Instagram, for you. See, for me, I didn't want to hide in photos anymore. I didn't want to avoid being shirtless around my kids at the beach on holidays. I wanted to feel proud again, strong, energetic, capable. Third question, what does a perfect day in your dream life actually look like? From the moment you wake up to when you go to bed, what are you doing? Who are you with? How do you feel? See, for me, I was waking up early, training with purpose, working with impact, and still being home in time to read my daughters a story. Fourth question, what kind of relationships do you want to have with yourself, with your partner, with your kids, with your friends? Are they honest, joyful, peaceful? Do they support the person that you're trying to become? These 4 questions form the foundation of your future. They shape the vision of the person that you're proud to become. And that vision, that's not some fluffy idea. That's your true north. That's your compass. Because here is the truth. If you don't know where you're going, no amount of motivation will ever get you there. You'll just drift. The real reason that so many people feel low, stuck, or tired all the time isn't because they're weak. It's because they have no vision. They live by default and not by design. I know this because I was one of them. And when you have no vision, everything feels pointless. The hard days feel heavier. The small wins feel meaningless. You chase pleasure, distractions, or approval because you don't feel like you're building anything worthwhile. That's when the bad food creeps in. The late nights, the scrolling, the shame. It's not because you're lazy, but because you've lost direction. As Seneca the Stoic said, if a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable. That's why we start here. Not with diet plans, not with morning routines, but with a vision anchored in values. A vision that you can be proud of. Take out a piece of paper and answer these 4 questions in full. Be raw, real, and honest with yourself. What do I want people to say about me when I'm not in the room? What do I want to look and feel like in my body? What does a perfect day in my life look like? And lastly, what kind of relationships do I want to build and protect? That is your vision. In the rest of this video series, I'm going to show you exactly how to close the gap between where you are now and that vision. We start today, not with perfection, just with clarity. So I'm going to see you in the next video where I'll talk about how to change your identity in order to improve your health. Dr. Derek here. I truly care about your health and I wish you the very best.